Good afternoon, everyone. Special thanks to all my Adapt 2030 patrons. This is the answer to the questions you've been asking about the wheat harvest on our planet. Australian Government Agriculture Report this week. Look at those commodities prices right side. Bottom is Australia up 63% for milling wheat. U.S. hard red winter wheat up 26% over the year. French wheat harvest 6.5% decrease. Over in the UK, even the media is saying food prices to rise 5% because of extreme weather. But look at the veggie prices. Carrots up 80%, butter up 25%, £7 per month per household times 18.9 million families. And I wonder which other sectors they're going to stop spending in first. And check out my newest episode on Mini Ice Age Conversations where I talked with Rob Virgin about aeroponics, hydroponics, aquaponics, and vertical grow tubes. Mini Ice Age Conversations, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Libsyn. And since we have entered the food price rise chapter of the Grand Solar Minimum, you're going to have to learn how to grow some of your own food. The Adapt 2030 link for TrueLeafMarket.com heirloom and organic seeds is in the description box below, as well as links to Mini Ice Age Conversations podcast and all the images and stories covered in the video tonight. Starting off here over with the Australian Government Agriculture Water Resources Report, the week of August 23rd. You have a nice rundown on commodities as well as where the drought areas are across Australia. Their rainfall totals are far below normal, but they don't want to outright come out and say, hey, grain shortage is because of extreme drought. That's a once in a 120-year event. So the commodities that they have listed, U.S. wheat, hard red winter wheat up 26% year on year. I get a lot of people saying, well, last week the prices were down. Yeah, but look at the year total, 26% up. And as we go down through to the bottom section there, milling wheat, feed barley. This is Australia specific. Take a look at the milling wheat prices up 63%. The feed wheat up 85%. And what about that barley? 86% increase. That's just this year. And as the drought intensifies, these numbers are going to continue to increase. And there's a lot of countries on the cusp of stopping their exports at the moment. Now, taking a look at the minimum temperature anomalies for the week, this is the lows. Check these out. Well below normal. Looks like the only place that's not below normal is West Australia. But the media would have you believe it's runaway global warming everywhere on the planet. But, Also staying within Australia, domestic crop indicator prices. Sorghum on the top left, barley on the top right, feed wheat. Those red lines, that's this year. Prices up. So Australia is kind of like a canary in the coal mine for the rest of the planet's wheat production as well as the grains. They're experiencing the drought first, as well as South Africa, but the political upheaval going on down there is masking the crop losses. And because of the land confiscation going on down there, you'll just say, well, it's expected to go to zero for production when people who don't know how to farm take over farms. So let's jump up to Europe. French wheat harvest, 6.5% decrease. This is the lowest in the last 10 years. Expected to go lower as the harvests actually come in. Remember, what we're seeing in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment are just forecasts. And taking a look at U.S. number 2 hard red winter wheat, red line is where we are with today's pricing. Again, it was up 26% this year alone. To the UK, I am shocked to see BBC front page listing food prices to rise 5% because of extreme weather. The whole crux of the article is going about consumer food cost increases. But I will give them props. They actually talked about extreme cold as well as extreme heat, both. So they did show you why in the winter with the extreme late planting season, wet conditions, and then it flipped right into drought. So the article continues and they talk about the prices of wholesale vegetables soaring up to 80%. And the key takeaway from this article is second paragraph there. The Center for Economics and Business Research explains that the increases will take 18 months to fully have an effect on shoppers. So see, they're giving you a timeline of when to expect maximum head-on collision with your earnings with food price increases. So this is the zero mark here. You have 18 months. In my opinion, the civil chaos unfurls because people will not be able to afford food, and these crop losses globally are going to exacerbate and increase from this point forward. Vegetable prices jumping 41%. For onions, carrots, 80%. Here's the thing, butter, 24%. Meat price is also set to soar due to feed shortages. And you saw those massive increases down in Australia for feed wheat. And another whole facet of this grand solar minimum diamond that we're looking at here, this is a perfect example of economic effects when food prices rise. So the report goes on to talk about consumer costs, and they put the extremely low number of £7 per month per household. When we take a look at how many households there are, is almost 20 million households. So do the math on that. And then see how much money is going to be diverted into the food sector, which means people need to stop spending elsewhere. So you need to ask yourself, what's the first thing people are going to stop spending on? But another sector of the greater economy is going to get slammed. And this is going to continue. And this is one of the things that was talked about in the Maunder minimum, the Dalton minimum, the Sporer minimum. Every single grand solar minimum, the economy declines because people are spending all their money on food. Now this year it's £7 per household. What happens when it turns into £28 per household? And you can just work the math up from there. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And if you like this type of information, you can find it in a blog post format over on steamit.com, Adapt 2030.